This is some art drama that's happening in the Final Fantasy XIV roleplay community. So let's take a peep at this because it's a really interesting situation. So the ordering of posts is going to be a little bit different than my usual videos, given the fact that a lot of the posts are gone. But there was somebody in the Final Fantasy roleplay community by the name of Olkund who was posting artwork of their character. And this person writes, and it's translated, "Even looking at other works by this artist, I can't believe they're hand-drawn by the same person. I won't deny their beautiful illustrations, but I think it's copyright infringement to feed Square Enix's copyrighted material into AI to generate them. Above all, the posting speed is suspiciously fast. Thinking it's safe just because nothing has been said officially is scary." So this is one of the posts made by the Olkun account who also goes by Seiya. And according to Google Translate, that post basically, was a little roleplay post. But again, note the fact that they tag themselves at Olkun_FF14 as the artist on this post. Here, again, we have another roleplay post. Again, they have their @ on the page, and it's another art piece in a completely different art style. So another one, and this one is really interesting. It reads, "I've run out of screenshots again, so please excuse me for using an illustration." Which, like, an illustration is very time consuming and takes a long time to make. But again, they have themselves tagged in the post. And this is another roleplay account by the name of Sophie, who welcomed Seiya into their community as an employee, but notably it says, "Look at this, it was drawn by Seiya." And again, their tag is on the page, so we know that this person is advertising themselves as an artist and making art for other people. But again, a lot of people are suspicious about the artwork, and OP writes, "The art styles are all over the place and way too inconsistent, and the poses are all so similar. There are even some that are just posing straight out of the screenshot captures," right? I bet it's because everyone's seen right through it that it hasn't gotten much traction despite these tags. And other people are saying, yep, it's so obviously AI generated. And that person, Seiya, has deleted their account, so all of their posts are now gone. But a lot of people were kind of quote retweeting their art posts, being like, yo, some stuff is looking weird. Like a third horn is growing from the left side of the head. The texture looks all off. And then Seiya basically was like kind of waffling around about it, not really providing any proof. And people were pushing them to provide a time lapse, given the fact that they use Ibis Paint, which can export time lapses. So then it's deleted, but we have a little snippet. They dropped the time lapse, and oh boy, people were not buying the time lapse at all. So I don't have the full time lapse, but here we have a segment that was recorded by another user, and this person writes, "You're sticking with it till the very end, huh? In terms of, trying to assert the fact that they actually drew it." And they writes, "Then keep up the great work on those cropped image creations from now on. I imagine it's tough when the hair starts moving around halfway through the drawing, lol." And this is the close-up of a segment of the screen recording, but take a look at this. Like, look at the bang that's going across the eye and the bang on the right side. They just start like pulsating in the middle of this speed paint. Like, what is happening here? And this speed paint literally just makes no sense. The way the drawing happens, it's so non-sequential in terms of what an artist draws. Like, your first frame, we have half the head and one horn. There's no base sketch done. There's no body blocking. And again, disclaimer, not everybody draws like that. Some people go straight into like a fully cleaned up sketch, or they go straight into just line work because they just want to, and that's totally fair. But this process, given the fact that this artist already has AI suspicions floating around, given they have so many pieces in very different art styles, and then they drop this, it's not looking good. But yeah, we have part of the other bang appearing, but like the left line for the bang and then the bottom right part of the line art. It literally looks like this person had the fully finished AI generated, allegedly, sketch, put a white layer on top, and is just erasing away the white layer. Like that's what it looks like, right? And then we have the second half of the head. And then look at this horn. Like, what is happening here? The horn looks like somebody stepped on it. And then boom, it gets rendered in all of a sudden. And then we have this bottom part that appears. Again, what is this? Random lines start appearing out of nowhere. Boom, 2 eyes, fully rendered in. But we have some mysterious zigzag lines on the bottom half of the body. We finally get the jawline. And then we get what looks like a hand, the start of a hand, and they continue the arm. Again, they're sketching as if they know exactly where everything goes. How exactly did you know? Exactly where the hand goes, exactly where the bracelet is. Like, no guidelines, nothing. We already get to basically the really cleaned up, finalized sketch. Boom, belt buckle appears out of nowhere. And then there's like this random dot that appears on the neck, and the dot is gone. And then we get half of the body markings appearing. And then look at this, half the body mark and one line for the collar. Boom. rest of the body marking and the collar fully materializes. By the way, only the left half of the body is actually drawn in. The right half, missing. Except we start drawing the right half of the body. Like, the drawing order of what is being drawn is just so odd. Because we get left horn, left bang, middle bang, right horn, some zigzags that later became the left collar, and then the eyes were drawn after that. And then we fully drew the left arm without drawing the rest of the body. Just straight into hand, arm, body markings for the neck and the jawline, and then the right side of the body. Huh? And then we get the hand. Again, the screen recording is zoomed in, so we don't get the rendering of the hand, unfortunately. More details get drawn in, and then sketch lines. Like, overall, this drawing process is just so absurd. And that's not even accounting, again, for the warping of the bangs and the horn, because it's pulsating. That doesn't happen in a sketch. In order for things to move in a sketch, either you cut it out and you warped it, you use the warp tool to warp it, or you erased it and redrew it, essentially, right? Or you liquefied it. It doesn't, like, breathe. And the other part that's really odd, and here we have like a more full screen grab of the Speedpaint from this user, and they write, it looks like it's been snipped off, doesn't it? Because this person only drew like the upper half of the body in the Speedpaint. This is just so weird. Where is the rest of the body? This is cut off in the middle of the forearm and in the middle of the torso. It literally looks like you took an eraser and erased half the body away. It just logically, if you think about it from a, would a human artist draw like this? Cannot see this happening. And another commenter said, it looks like there's a layer painted pure white on top, and then it looks like that layer was being erased away with an eraser. And another person adds, why are you drawing in such an incomprehensible way? It's one thing to write the signature from right to left, but are you seriously drawing other parts in between the O and the L? And you're not putting out a time lapse of the coloring? If you did that properly, no one would suspect a thing. I really wish I had the full screen record. I really do. But like, I was at a wedding on this day, so I wasn't able to grab it. Look at their username, okay? The way they write it, like they write, the O is not fully written here. And then they write the O and the at symbol. What? Like literally nobody writes like this. And typically people sign at the very end of making the piece, not like in the sketch. And then you re-render it again. I don't know, maybe some people do that. And about, again, the artworks, other people were suspicious about other elements. Like if you look closely, buckles, they look close enough, but they don't actually match. And the hair is like tangling into this buckle, which like, I feel like no human artist would really draw this. And then again, chains melting into details. And to try to save face, the artist uploaded a traditional piece. So they were like, I'll upload this analog drawing for now. It's been a while since I drew anything, so there's some parts that are a bit off, but if I didn't upload it anytime soon, it would look more suspicious. I'm not gonna respond to anything you say to me anymore. And here they have a traditional piece. Yeah, it looks chill, but it doesn't look like the other stuff you were posting. Like, you know, we have this with like objectively perfect hand anatomy, right? And then we got, you know, some fingers that are a little smaller than the other fingers, which is totally chill. Hey, hands are hard to draw. I'm not dogging on anybody for doing that. It's just this person is trying to LARP as if they drew the other pieces when it most definitely looks like they didn't. And another person said, I'm just saying not to lie. I'm just saying not to falsely claim it's hand-drawn. I'm just saying to honestly admit it's AI generated and say sorry for lying. Does it really make you happy to get flattered for lying? And this was like another sketch, right, of the other piece flagged as 99% likely to be AI generated, and the fully rendered version also flagged as 99% likely to be AI generated. Again, these checkers are not 100% accurate and can be wrong, but it's not a great look if, you know, you already have that really whack looking speed paint and then these are also clocking you. And another person adds, this person has been painting using GPT Image 2, right? GPT Image 2 has a very distinctive way of using glitter or particles during painting, and the sheer amount of information it packs in is so characteristic that you can tell right away. I tried having my own screenshot turned into an illustration as a test, but it has this habit of drawing in highlights and shading in an incredibly detailed way, like this. So this is the example, and this is what allegedly was drawn by Saya. And yeah, it carries a lot of the elements. Again, when we take a close look at this piece, there's so much of it that is off that immediately very telltale-y of, oh, this looks very AI generated. Again, it's one of those like, would a human artist do this? Because a lot of elements don't make sense. We have like white under the mask, but only this one portion. There's the middle bang here, and then there's like all these other strands of hair that look like they belong to the middle bang and then just melt into the blindfold that's being worn. Then we have a buckle thing. This is a buckle. but it's not a buckle. It looks like a reflection, but it's also not a reflection on the chest. And more hair that like stops and then reappears later, and hair that's melting into the body, and all of these like warping. Like this is a strand of hair that curls in and then disappears. All in all, the hair behavior most definitely is also very odd. So after all of this, the artist tried really hard to convince people that the artwork was actually drawn by them. They deleted their accounts. And the original poster says, this person themselves deleted their account and fled. Generative AI itself is just a tool, neither good or evil. I just want to say the obvious thing. It's not okay to infringe on others' rights or use it to spread lies. This person has a more positive spin on AI, being like, oh, you know, if only you kept it to use AI to clean up your messy sketches. Other people in the comments were like, hey, Gen AI still steals from actual artists. So regardless, that is still not cool because it's still being used as part of theft. So yeah, that's the end of the situation. And this whole story is just a mess of this person trying to pass off a bunch of generated works as something they hand drew when it wasn't. And after all stops were exhausted, you know, they tried an analog sketch to get people, they tried posting a speed paint to get people, and people weren't falling for it at all, and they all smelled the BS, and this person just was like, I'm gonna leave. So curious about your thoughts on this entire situation. Again, don't use Gen AI to go and deceive a bunch of people. Just don't deceive people. Don't use Gen AI. It's your life. You can do whatever you want with it, but you know, try not to do those, I guess. If you like this video, I appreciate it. If you like and subscribe, don't forget to check me out on Etsy. I have digital art there for streamers and creators. I got my merch in, so I'm excited to show you guys. And it's gonna be about cats. I also have a coffee if you want to follow me there. I have free resources for streamers and creators, free emotes, and I also stream on Twitch Mondays and Saturdays at 6 p.m. and Thursdays at 7:30, all PST. So I hope to catch y'all there or in another one of my videos.